first, we will have a media review by the most talented Alexis Zimberg. Alexis is a historian and writer that specializes in the freedom of speech, particularly in Russia, Eurasia, and Eastern Europe. Alexis returned home to Detroit following the completion of her master's degree at Georgetown. She works as an educator in the Jewish community and is also the director of Post-Soviet Graffiti, a cultural hub of Detroit's Slavic community. Her research has been internationally acclaimed by both academic and foreign policy publications. Alexis, please take it away.
Thank you, Judge Warren. In 1789, James Madison introduced the Bill of Rights to the first United States Congress. These first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution came into effect in 1791. These fundamental human rights, including the right to assemble peacefully, rest at the core of any functioning democratic system. The text reads as follows: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peacefully to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The freedom to celebrate, to protest, and to express unity in a public space is a critical part of how we express ourselves politically. This is why the freedom of assembly also appears in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the European Convention on Human Rights, and in the American Convention on Human Rights. But around the globe, not everyone has a freedom to assemble, a right closely associated with the freedom of speech. In an authoritarian state, citizens often lack free access to an unrestricted press and to a public space where their concerns can be raised. To highlight this discrepancy, I've chosen to review the 2006 documentary film, A Lesson of Belarusian, by director Miroslav Dominsky. The prize-winning film offers exclusive and gritty footage of the pro-democracy movement in Minsk in the weeks preceding the controversial 2006 presidential election, in which incumbent Alexander Lukashenko was once again re-elected. The film opens and frequently cuts to footage of peaceful intergenerational gatherings and their violent government crackdowns. Though Belarus is a signatory to the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe's 1990 Copenhagen document, thus agreeing to uphold the right to freedom of assembly within the country's borders, it is clear from this footage that, in practice, the people are prohibited from assembling for unsanctioned causes. Early in the film, a particularly poignant scene portrays a group of 25 or so students gathered in what appears to be a dark basement for an educational lesson. Their school, we learn, was closed down allegedly because it taught the Belarusian language, an action that is considered to be antagonistic and dangerously nationalistic in the Russian-speaking state. The teacher asks the students, "How do we protest?" To which one young woman responds, "The fact that we study here is a protest." The freedom of assembly does not explicitly refer to parades and marches alone, but also to actions that, due to their unsanctioned and often illegal status, are obligated to take place in secret. If we in the United States take issue with labor policy or a particular interpretation of the United States Constitution, we have the right to go out into the streets and join others in peaceful protest. In A Lesson of Belarusian, we watch a public effort to have an open space meeting with the oppositional candidate. A middle-aged woman in a fur coat points her finger at the camera, insisting that this is not a demonstration or a provocation, but rather a public meet and greet with a political candidate and, in fact, their constitutional right. Nevertheless, the action is considered illegal and the riot police arrive. In America, the First Amendment protects our freedom of assembly, which allows us to come together for common causes, in celebration or in protest, as long as that mass action is peaceful. Of course, the caveat is that protest sometimes conflicts with laws intended to protect public safety, even here in America. This is why police have the authority in many cities to disperse a crowd that they believe threatens public safety. If the cause is unpopular within the community or with the local government, the use of force against assembly becomes more nuanced. At the end of the film, it is election night, and the people of Minsk have gathered together in a public square. The opposition candidate knows that he will not beat the incumbent leader, but still tells his followers, "We won today," for the people were willing to assemble in the public space despite fear or consequence. This film, though not about America, sheds a bright light on how fortunate we are in the democratic United States to have our basic human rights of speech and assembly protected by the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. Back to you, Judge Warren.